Have you noticed a pattern in your relationships? Do you attract unhealthy, toxic relationships? Do you attract narcissists? Do you attract abusers? If you've noticed a pattern, if you keep attracting this kind of thing into your life, this is because of a core wound. There's a main reason that we attract unhealthy relationships. There's a reason within us that we need to heal to prevent this pattern from continuing. My name is Angela Cleary. I'm a feminine empowerment coach and I specialise in healing after narcissistic abuse. There's nothing wrong with us. We don't attract abusers because we deserve it. We don't attract abusers because we've done anything wrong. We attract abusers because we need love. We're broken. Our inner child is broken inside. Our inner child is traumatized. Our inner child is damaged. Our inner child fears rejection and abandonment. This is one of the reasons that we attract unhealthy relationships. Because of our wounded inner child, we're seeking outside of ourselves for the love that we didn't receive when we were young. Because of childhood trauma, this is why we attract unhealthy relationships. Because of childhood abuse, because of what we've grown up with. Childhood abandonment. And now when we attract these kind of relationships, we usually have a core abandonment wound, a core rejection wound. And this is why we're so susceptible to attracting these kind of relationships. Because of this wound, we're crying out, internally we're crying out to be loved. We're desperate to be loved. We're seeking outside of ourselves for the validation we didn't receive when we were kids. We're craving that love. And abusers can see that. Narcissists can see that. They can see that we have a kind, open heart. And they play on that. They target that. They can see that we're easy to manipulate. And I don't mean that in a bad way. What I mean is, when we live with wounded inner child and wounded inner wounds, unhealed inner wounds, we don't understand what healthy love is. And we latch on to anything that's shown to us. And the abusers are so good, narcissists are so good at putting on the love bombing, at putting on this persona that they love us. And we fall we're hook, line and sinker for this because we're desperate. We're desperate for that love. And not just because of the wounded inner child. Society tells us as well that we need to be in a relationship, that we need to be protected. So this makes us rush into things that aren't good for us either. This makes us miss the red flags. So there's a couple of different reasons why we do attract these relationships. It's because of what we believe we want, what we think we want, but it's not really what we want. You know what I mean? And we're seeking outside of ourselves desperately for love. And because of this, because of our wounds, we're so trusting as well that we expect everyone to be like us. We expect everyone to be caring. We expect everyone to be open-hearted and not abusive. So therefore, we trust too easily before we heal our wounds. And this is why we attract this kind of relationship over and over again. And this is the problem then as well, is because of our wounding as a child, when we attract narcissistic abuse, that abuse heightens the wounds that we have within us. This heightens our lack of self-worth. This heightens our fear of abandonment. This heightens our fear of rejection. So it makes us even more prone to attracting this kind of relationship again. Because the narcissist will play on everything that you suffer from, all your pain, and enhance it and make it worse so that you cannot leave. And if you do eventually get out of that, you'll end up attracting the next narcissistic relationship until you actually heal your wounds. Like for me, I didn't even notice the pattern until long after, I suppose, narcissistic relationship almost number 3. Like I've been attracting narcissists. I had been attracting narcissists since I was 16 years of age. My first narcissist was a female friend in school. I didn't even know this until after I discovered what narcissists were. I ended up in an 8-year narcissistic relationship. Then I ended up with a misogynist for a year and a half. And then I was like, this, I need to heal from this. I need to fix myself before I actually date again. And I took a break. I was like, grand. And then I was healed. I was like, yeah, I'm ready to get back on the horse. Happy days. And what happened? I attracted another narcissist. Thankfully, that one only lasted 2 months. But that's when I had the light bulb moment. And I was like, whoa, man, what the fuck? Like, I thought I'd healed, but yet I've attracted another narcissist. And actually at the very same time I attracted that narcissist, I was pushed out of a supervisor role by a narcissistic boss. This is when I said to myself, hold on now. There has to be something behind this. It's not a coincidence. There's no such thing as coincidences. It's not a coincidence that I'm attracting narcissistic abuse left, right, and centre. In all my relationships. And then that's when I started to understand that I had narcissistic friends, that I had to walk, I was actually surrounded by more narcissistic friends. And I was just like, whoa, hold on now a second. They're everywhere. And I was just like, what's wrong with me? And there's nothing wrong with me. But I was like, there has to be something inside me that I haven't healed, that needs to be healed, that needs to shed the reasoning for me attracting narcissistic abuse. Because I was like, there is no coincidence, and I'm getting one after the other of narcissistic abuse here. What am I doing wrong? Or what should I do better? Or what do I need to heal? And that's when I discovered inner child healing, because I thought I'd healed on the outside. But a lot of what we do in life is dictated by our unconscious mind, but also by our early years, our childhood. We have to look back and see what caused that. And I realised I had an abandonment wound, the rejection wound. My mother left when I was a toddler. I had so much. My inner child had blamed herself her whole life for my mother leaving. My inner child felt that she wasn't lovable. And for this reason, I thought I was unlovable. I thought I wasn't worthy. I thought I was inadequate. I thought that I didn't deserve love. And as well as that, my model of love was toxic. I grew up watching violence, abuse. So therefore, I thought that that's what love looked like. So when I got into toxic relationships, I was like, this is normal. This is why I stay, because this looks normal. This is what I've seen. And this all comes down to our inner core wounds. We need to discover what part of us is crying out for that love. Is your inner child crying out for that love? And the thing is, with abandonment wounds and rejection wounds, you don't have to be physically abandoned by a parent to feel those wounds. And I've spoken about this before. Abandonment can come in the form of a parent passing away, a parent leaving, parents separating. It can come in the form of a parent having an addiction, or a parent having incapabilities of being affectionate. This can all lead to a feeling of unworthiness, a questioning of, why me? What did I do wrong? And that's the thing, I believe that every child blames themselves in some way unconsciously for their parent leaving. This has a lasting effect. I didn't know. I didn't believe that I felt my mother left me. I felt that she had her own problems and that's why she left. I spent my whole life thinking that I didn't care that my mother left. And when I discovered inner child healing after the age of 30, I was like, hold on now. Unconsciously, I blamed myself. I solely blamed myself for my mother leaving. I believed that she didn't love me. And after I discovered inner child healing, I actually got a flashback and realised that she did love me. Do you know what I mean? So this is how our childhood can affect us. And it doesn't even have to come to parental abandonment or parental neglect of any kind. Abandonment can come in kind of rejection, and abandonment can come in any form. You go missing for 5 minutes in the supermarket just around the corner, and this can lead to panic. This can lead to feeling like you're isolated. If you fall over in the playground and the kids start laughing, this can feel rejection, this can feel shame. These kind of things that happen to us as children can have a lasting effect on us when we become adults. And this can dictate how we seek out relationships and what we attract in our lives. So we have to start looking within ourselves. Ask ourselves, is there a pattern? Do I keep attracting the same kind of person? What is inside me that I need to understand that is attracting this kind of person? And it starts with that core wound and that core realization. And if you're starting to see that you're surrounded by abusers, by narcissistic people, start to set those boundaries and start to walk away. Build your strength back up, because a lot of the time with these wounds, we become very codependent. We turn back into a childlike state because of their abuse, but because they create a scenario where we become dependent on them as a form of they need to be in control. So they don't want us to leave. They don't want us to get our independence again. And that's the thing, we end up being so codependent on them that we can't leave. We end up becoming used to the abuse, comfortable in the abuse in a sense. And I know that sounds weird, but we end up knowing no different. We've seen abuse our whole lives. We attract abuse, so therefore we think that that's all there is. And therefore we end up getting comfortable in the uncomfortable. We end up getting familiar with that. So it's very hard for us to release that. But it all starts within. It starts with understanding the pattern. And then it starts with acknowledging what part of you is wounded. And that's all it is. You've done nothing wrong. You don't deserve this abuse. But there's a wounded inner child, there's a wounded part of you that needs to be nurtured, that needs to be loved, that needs to be cared for. And we don't ever get that love again through abusive relationships. We think we do, but that's not love. And this is hard as well for us to actually love ourselves. We can't love ourselves fully if we're wounded. When I was wounded, I look back now, I felt so unworthy. I actually likened myself, I used to say that I was shitty, so that therefore I only attracted shitty stuff. I didn't ever have any self-worth or confidence. I never believed in myself. So I only ever believed that I deserved shitty because I was shitty myself. And that was a lack of self-love. And I was not loving myself because of my unconscious wounds. So therefore, this is where it all starts. When we love ourselves fully, when we've healed those wounds within us, we don't seek desperately outside ourselves for that love. We don't need to be protected. We don't need another person to validate our happiness, to validate the love that we have for ourselves. And that's what we need to start doing. We need to start within. Face those wounds within us, understand why we're attracting these kind of relationships, heal ourselves and heal our inner child. The more we heal our inner child and love and nurture them, the more we'll be able to love ourselves fully. And that's the beauty of it. You know what I mean? Coming to full unconditional love for yourself is the magic. That's what we need to do. Because then we don't attract those low vibrational energies into our life. We don't attract those narcissists into our lives anymore. We attract healthy, high vibrational love. But we don't need it. The secret is that not needing it. We become independent instead of codependent. And that is the beauty of it. When we heal what's inside us to prevent us from attracting those kind of abusive relationships again, we no longer will attract that, because we will feel worthy. We'll know that we're worthy. We know that we're deserving of love. But we're not desperate for it. We don't have to have it. We want it, but we deserve it, but you're not desperately seeking outside of yourself for something. And that desperation is another thing that attracts unhealthy relationships as well, because we're craving for that love. We're craving for that touch. But when we bring that love within ourselves, we don't need it. We don't need to run after the next person, and the right person will come to us. When we're living in a high vibrational loving energy for ourselves, love gravitates towards us. Healthy love gravitates towards us. So trust that. Understand if there's a pattern, there's something inside that needs to be healed. Something that you need to face. Then find find and heal that. Find that love for yourself. Find your independence again. And then attract in that high vibrational healthy love into your life. You will no longer repeat the same patterns if you do that inner work and if you face what's within you that needs to be healed. And if you need help with this, call me today, because I will help you on your journey. I have been through this over and over again, and it's taken me a long time to heal my wounds and to heal myself. And if I can help you do that in a shorter space of time than I did, this is my goal. This is what I want to do. I want to make your healing journey easier than mine was. You know, it took me a long time because I had to do it alone. But when you have support and when you have someone who's been through it, it can make it an awful lot easier. So if you need help on your journey, book me for that discovery call today, and I would love nothing more than to help you on your path. And if this video does resonate, please like and share, and please subscribe to my channel so that I can reach as many people as possible. Thank you so much for listening today, and I'll see you again.